Now it's my pleasure to turn the conversation over to David Erickson, who's the Senior Vice President and Head of Outreach at the New York Fed, and Gene Sutsvin, who leads programs as the Senior Vice President at AARP. David, take it away.
Thanks, Fred. And thanks to everybody. Wow, that chat session, I could just watch that for hours. That was just so amazing. But I have to admit, I miss us being together. I miss us being. I particularly love I'm here in New York City, and our headquarters is beautiful giant building on basically on Wall Street here. And you know what I like to remind people when they're in this pretty grand, overwhelming building at some point is that you own this building. This is your building, and I say that in part because I want to invite you into sort of the work that we do. You know, of course, John Williams mentioned the many emergency efforts that the Fed engaged in during the worst of the recession, but we also have the ability to sort of to do research, to shine a light on areas where there's a need. We tried to live the old Quaker adage of speaking truth to power. And we also have a role to convene important conversations, to bring people together, to learn and search for solutions. So we're always eager to do that, especially when we have an opportunity to do that research and convening with an amazing partner like AARP. Now, you know, running a business is important. As we saw from the chat, I mean, on the number of cities, I was trying to keep a list of the cities there for a while, but it was too long. You touch every part of the country, but as a whole, you do something even more. Over the past decade, roughly 32 million small businesses in the US created more than 10 million net new jobs. That's basically 2/3 of overall net new job creation. But more than even that, small businesses are contributing something even more important, which is hope in communities. And I work in community development. I know how important small businesses are to low-income communities. And I agree with Father Boyle, the founder of Homeboy Industries, a small business incubator in Los Angeles, who says the best way to stop a bullet is with a job. So looking forward, we need to find ways to make small businesses more resilient. Even in good times, they struggled. And so here are some opportunities that we think might be worth pursuing. Data suggests building that bridge building between business owned by people of color and community banks helps both. We can harness the promise of fintech by learning what it does best, enable capital to move quickly to those who need it. Lenders that got emergency SBA authorization can still make loans. Those include fintechs, community development financial institutions, and minority depository institutions. So to find one in your area, please visit the SBA's PPP website. We heard many times today that we must make it easier to ask for help and expand networks. In one of our many listening sessions during the pandemic, we heard from African-American business owners who said that it's more than a lack of access to capital. There's always a lack of access to partners, coaching and mentoring, and other resources that are essential for success. Businesses need more than just capital. How do we build those ecosystems that support success? That was a big theme today. I loved all the terms about pivot, swivel, prepare for a crisis, help business rethink their business model. That's something that we can help them with too. And then of course, Mark sort of threw down the gauntlet there at the end. How can we step away from 20th century mindsets to solve 21st century problems? It's a bigger question. All of these conversations really rest within that larger entity. Within that larger context that we have to really wrestle with. So I'm just thrilled that you were able to join us today. Wherever you are near a Federal Reserve Bank or a branch. So I would really urge you to reach out to see if you can help convene a conversation in your community to help connect the dots, as Tawanda told us. Thanks for joining us today. And now I'll pass the mic along to Jean.
Thanks so much, David. Thank you again for joining us. And I just want to reflect on, I think, what I heard throughout the last couple of hours. I hope everybody's walking away, taking the research as well as the conversation today, confirming that experienced entrepreneurs, where I think most of you on the call today are, definitely dominates the small business sector. You bring your years of experience, you bring your personal wealth, you bring your ability to solve problems under pressure, your extensive network, and normally under most times, that is a recipe for success. But as we learned from this research, with the onset of COVID, the number of active firms, particularly those owned by all of you who are over the age of 45, is down 9%. And it's even more felt in the testimonials we heard today, the research that we saw, and that downward pressure is even more felt, unfortunately, in communities of color. So we know that the economy sort of can't reopen until we really do address this health crisis that we're under. So we know that that's task number one. But as David alluded to, as many of you talked about today too, we need to get assistance to all of you. Simply, efficiently, like David mentioned, fintech and other ways, the systems that need to be built in addition to the policy. So we really do hope that small businesses really are vocalizing your needs, your concerns, so that this ecosystem, this design can be best built for you. And we need to really listen to you, listen to ways that we can actually reach out to you most efficiently. One of the things that I'm also moved by too is beyond the financing, beyond the normal tools that you normally access, from plans to marketing, the need for, again, upskilling, reskilling. We hear a lot about that in the future of work. I think it's also very much necessary within the small businesses. So I'm really heartened and encouraged by the work of the New York Fed and the research that we did collectively. I think there's a lot of great focus from our partnership with them. And last but not least, I just have to say, you know, the reason why, again, AARP is in this, just to kind of reiterate some of the points that Nancy LeaMond raised earlier. Again, roughly a third of our members are working today. Many of you will want to continue to work either for yourselves or for other people. And we want to make sure that you have access to the sort of desired path that you have. So with that, we're so delighted to have this time with you today, delighted with this partnership with the New York Fed, delighted to also work with public-private strategies. And with that, I'm going to actually bring Rhett back, who's going to share with you a lot more resources that you can access.
Awesome. Well, thank you, David and Jean, and thank you both for your leadership. We are at 4:30 on the dot. We are on time, and I just want to thank all of you. This has been one of the most active chats. We've had hundreds of folks stay with us for close to 3 hours, which is amazing. So thank you for making time in the Zoom room today. Just quickly wanted to highlight some important resources. You've heard a lot about our Small Business Resource Center. You can visit it at smallbizrc.org. The Fed has an amazing set of small business research and events ongoing. You can check out fedsmallbusiness.org. If you want more information about how to start a business, we've included that here. And then, of course, we've included some information about the SBA, and you heard from Mark today and his new position in the Biden administration and the things he's going to do. We said at the start of this program, this was the start of a conversation. This has been a partnership to further and deeper understand. We're proud of the research we've put out today, but I think we were energized by this conversation, having so many leaders, partners, actors, institutions, but mostly with the ability to be able to share it with all of you. So I want to add my thanks. I want to let everyone know that we will follow up and make sure that everyone gets a copy of this conversation today and all the resources that we've talked about. And we'll make sure to find a way that everyone who's joined us today who wants to be able to follow up can do so as well. With that, thank you all so much. Be safe, be well, be prosperous. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you soon.